Using the pictures I gave you for the animal classification, you're now going to make a cladogram and a Venn diagram to group these with similar characteristics. These are the plants that I did as an example. The plants, I chose that they have leaves, if they have flowers, if they have fruits and vegetables, if their vegetable is in the ground, or if it has a trunk and bark. From this, the cactus, the only thing it has in common with the rest is that it's plants, so it does not have any of the characteristics. The carrots and radishes and the rest all have leaves. And other than the daisy and the aster, the rest have fruits. And then we separate the carrots and radishes because they have the vegetables actually growing in the ground, and the coconut tree and the apple tree actually have a trunk with bark. So from there, I'm going to start listing these in the order from the least characteristics to the most characteristics. When you do that, you're going to begin to make your Venn diagram. I have one already made for you, and here's what it's going to look like. I had them all listed, and then you put circles for the characteristics that they have. The cactus has no characteristics, so it's not even part of the Venn diagram. It's very primitive. All of these have leaves, so I put a green circle around all of the organisms with leaves. Now from there, I broke it up into two groups. The daisies and asters, I put a pink circle around them because they have flowers, but the rest of these I put a blue circle around because they have fruit. Now inside of there, the tomato does not have any other characteristics past that, but the carrots and radishes both have fruit that's grown in the ground, and the apple and the coconut tree both have a trunk and bark. Now, when you are doing this, you can do it on the computer like this, or you're also more than welcome to draw it and take a picture and attach it to your slides. It's the same thing. It's just you actually just do it freehand. Now from there, you have to make a cladogram. A cladogram is going to be a chart or a diagram that's going to show how these things are closely related. The Venn diagram is useful because you're going to be able to tell how to branch off of each line. So when I'm looking at this cladogram that I've made for mine, you can see down here they start out with a common ancestor, and that's the point of a cladogram, is to show that all organisms have a common ancestor. And from there, the only characteristic they have in common is that they are plants. From up top, now, when we look back at our Venn diagram, let's look at the big picture. It starts out, we have a cactus, and then the rest is all in this green circle. So it first splits it into two. So when I look at my cladogram, I have split my cladogram. I have a cactus, and it's all by itself because it doesn't have any other characteristics. And then I have another branch that comes up. And you can see right there, I put the characteristic is that they all have leaves. So there's my two branches. Now, the cactus is done. We're now going to focus on leaves. Now, what we do is come back to our Venn diagram, and inside leaves, you look to see how many circles you have, and we have two, a pink and a blue circle. So now you are going to have a line, and you have two branches from it because you had pink, which means it had flowers, and blue, which means it had fruit. So we'll do our pink first. So we say there right there, the line means that's the new characteristic, so everything above it has flowers. And we look back at our Venn diagram, the two things that have flowers are daisies and asters. There's no other circles inside of there, so we are done with that. So we come up and branch off daisies, and you branch off aster, and you are done with those. Now we have our blue circle. We look back at our Venn diagram. Our blue circle has 1, 2, 3 sections. So that line will have 1, 2, 3 lines coming from it. Tomato did not have any other characteristics. It is just a plant with leaves and a fruit. So it comes off here and it's by itself. Now, since there was a circle, the carrot and radish were inside of a circle. They have another characteristic, and that is the fruit is in the ground. So we put another line up with the new characteristic. Therefore, we know it has fruit in the ground, and we have both the carrot and radish coming off there because there's no more circles inside of that black circle. And our last circle that we have is the red circle, and that's by itself, so you know there's nothing else that branches off of it. And we have our, comes up, we see the characteristic, and you know that the apple tree also has bark, and so does the coconut. So when you're reading this, you start from the bottom. They started from a common ancestor, yes. They are all plants. Now from there, if we look at this, the cactus does not have any other characteristics. But if I ask you what characteristic a carrot has, you have to go all the way through it. It's a plant that has leaves and fruit, and the fruit is in the ground. Any characteristic that is below it, any line, you know that it has that characteristic. Now, if I asked you which organism is probably the most closely related to the cactus, that would probably be the daisy or the aster because they do not have as many specific characteristics.